Here are 8 interesting facts about immigrants in Canada. Canada's population is of 34.4 million people. From that, 7.5 million are immigrants, which translates to a 22%. It is ranked the number 7 in the world of countries with the largest immigrant population. The projection for 2036 is that immigrants will represent between 24.5 and 30% of its population. The top 3 cities with most immigrant population are Toronto with 35%, Vancouver with 13%, and Montreal with 12%. The amount of Latin American immigrants that live in Canada are of approximately 870,000, which translates to a 12% of the total amount of immigrants, and 3% of Canada's population. Besides the official languages, which are English and French, Spanish is ranked number 5, with almost 500,000 native speakers. Portuguese is ranked number 7, with more than 200,000 native speakers. For sure, being a new immigrant is challenging, but there are quite a few things to be positive about. There was a sociological research conducted on the importance of social networks. This study was done on women who were receiving social assistance in Ontario, which concluded that regardless of the level of education, skills, and how many resumes a person can submit, 30% of the studied women had found employment through social connections. This is why building your community can be a great resource. Also, we can focus on the cultural capital concept. This refers to all the things a person has that add more value to their life, other than financial resources. For example, traveling, being exposed to other cultures, and knowing more than 2 languages. In Hispanotech, you can build a community and learn plenty of new tips to thrive. We are here for you. Hello there, I'm Lucia, and I'm a newcomer like you. Welcome to Hispanotech. Please welcome Gabriela Ureña. Gabriela is from Costa Rica and came to Canada in summer of 2019. She lives in Toronto with her husband and dog named Bianca. Is working as a project manager for Traction on Demand. She enjoys using her skills to contribute to different non-for-profits, such as Hispanotech and Covenant House, helping coordinate online events. In her spare time, we can find her on the trails with Bianca, riding her bike, playing board games, playing Nintendo, or watching a movie. Gabriela really hopes one day she can meet you all face-to-face at one of our events. And now with you, Gabriela Ureña.
So, hi everyone, my name is Gabriela, and this is my story on how and why I moved to Canada. I'm from Costa Rica, and as you can see, we are a small country over here compared to Canada. We have a great average weather of 22 Celsius compared to Canada, which is -8. We have only 2 seasons. Canada has 4, and of course, it has snow. This is like my timeline. It was May 2018 when my husband came and told me, hey, let's move to Canada. We hadn't been here before. I just knew it was cold. So we applied to the permanent resident on September 2018. And then we received approval. And 2 months after, I don't know how, we moved to Canada, to Port Credit, Mississauga, with only 2 bags. Okay. Since we didn't know a lot about Canada, this was my guide. He's a YouTuber, he's from Colombia, and I watch all the videos from Planeta Juan. It's really great material if you want to check them out. He explained how safe is Canada, multicultural country, great job opportunities, and also 100 beautiful places to visit. So what did I did on my first initial days? The hardest part here was not knowing what to do or where to go. The systems for everything were so different, and everything was sent via mail because Canada is paper-based. I don't know why. So we went to TV for our credit card, to Service Canada, and then to Rogers. And I was surprised by how expensive the mobile plans are. Okay, so I want to tell this. I had experience as a driver like for 20 years. I don't know how long, but I was very nervous when I arrived here. Like all the signals, all traffic signals were different. So when I get that day, I remember that the instructor getting to the car, he was mad. I don't know, he was upset. And so when I made a couple of minor mistakes, but the huge one was with this one, the turn left light, because we don't have that one when you just need to stop and just look on the upcoming traffic, and then you can turn left. Well, there was a car in front of me, and that car and the light turned yellow, and I was paralyzed. I was so freaked out. I don't know. I was so nervous. And I just stayed there, and the instructor yelled at me like, "Hey, what are you doing? Come on, girl, blah, 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 you're blocking the traffic." And of course, I failed the test. The good thing about this is that 1 month later, I was able to get my G2, and I passed it. Another interesting fact or challenge is when I see my first when my appointment with my doctor. Here works quite different from home. The health system in Canada is government managed, just like in Costa Rica, but you cannot pay to see a particular specialist you like. If you need to see a specialist doctor, you need a family doctor to refer you first. So it was a great challenge, and I don't have a family doctor by now. So if you have any recommendation, please type on the chat and let me know if you know, or maybe someone who speaks Spanish. That would be great, because of miscommunication and all that challenge with the English as a second language. So please recommend me one. So year 2020 came, the pandemic started, you know, all those new things I was enjoying were gone. All my fears came. I was miles away from home, and I lost my job. So by there I was, okay, what do I need to do to find a job first and feel better, right? So sorry, my strategy here was actually became a volunteer, and I became a volunteer at Hispanotech as well, and I like built a lot of connections. I also became part of Level Up, which is a great community. If you want to check it out in LinkedIn. And it's a great place where you can find or meet other Latinos who want to grow their careers in North America. And then job support. I actually went, I contacted the YMC Employment Services. They helped me out with mock interviews. I made connections, or I applied to more than 100 jobs in LinkedIn. And this guy, Dean, you can find it on LinkedIn. He's so great. He does webinars, weekly webinars, and he actually help you find a job. It's great tips. So after doing all of this, I didn't have a lot of friends or connections or anyone who can refer me to a job. So I was able to land a job by myself in project management. And after that, making all of that, I made great connections and friends. So this is my story, and still adapting, really enjoying the great things this country brings to us, and working with the challenges. So I can definitely say sometimes we are hard with ourselves. We don't realize that we are immigrants who left behind family, home, friends, and we speak English as a second language. So stay positive and build connections. That will be my advice here. And you can connect with me. This is my LinkedIn. And if you want any suggestions on project management, please let me know. Thank you.
I want to introduce you now to Gabriela Roca Vasquez. Gabriela is a business development professional in education technology. She works with educational government institutions and enterprises in Latin America and Asia to successfully adopt the use of e-learning platforms, exactly what we read right now. She holds a master's degree in Hispanic studies and is the director of customer success at Everybody Loves Languages. Gabriela is faculty at Romance Language Department at Villanova University and is also a member of the board of directors of Hispanotech. And now with you, Gabriela Roca.
Thank you, Lucia. Thank you so much for such a beautiful present introduction. And it's quite interesting whenever you see the work or where you come from or what you've done. To me, it's like, wow, did I do this much already? Anyway, thank you so much. So newcomer, new me. So when the team approached me to be a speaker in this particular event, I had a little bit of a challenge because I've been living abroad for many years now, almost 15 years, I believe. So I have so many stories, so many anecdotes, so much experience, so much I've lived through so much throughout the years that I could share with you tonight. But I chose to talk to you about my first job experience as a newcomer. I recently moved and I came across a thank you card that was given to me by my former colleagues from Villanova University. My first job was as an interpreter and translator for Villanova University Law School. The notes left by my former colleagues brought back so many memories, but at the same time also helped me remember the many skills I developed, and also how did I use my Hispanic background to leverage and to be successful in this particular role I had as an interpreter. So, I mean, just to give you a little bit of background information about the Villanova University Law School and the clinic they have, they support immigrants, undocumented immigrants. They support people who have issues with their taxes, people seeking asylum, and they have multiple branches of law where they have experts that they can support people looking for these services, and these services are offered free of charge. Generally, they are overseen by law professors, and there are law students who gain first-hand experience working in real cases. So my work at Villanova was basically, my main role was obviously to translate documents and to do live translations. I also mentor and oversaw the work of a group of translators. So it was quite the experience for me as a newcomer. This was my first year, and I was getting used to the way that you work in the US, to the way that you report to your boss, and like I found in this card the note that was left to me by my boss back then, the director of the program, Beth Lyon. And she wrote something like, "Oh, dear Gabby, mil gracias for everything you did for the clients, the students, and for the program. I know we will hear great things about you, Beth Lyon." So when someone says that to you and you looked up to this person, you are like, oh my goodness, I have so much responsibility. I have to make something of my time, not only in the US, but here now in Canada. So 10 years later, I have, like Lucia mentioned, I am the director of customer success at the company. that works with educational institutions all over the world. So primarily I work with educational institutions in Latin America and Asia. And I wanted to show you a little bit of the work that I do. So I don't know, Lucia, if you can play the audio, because if you go back to this slide, it's a video. Could you do that for me? So just to give you a little bit of information, the programs we develop through ELL technologies are softwares for language learning. So can you please go back to the previous slide?
There is no video there. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
No. Okay. But let me just give you a little bit of context. I work with educational institutions throughout the world, as I mentioned. So this is a particular project I work with a telecom company in Peru to provide with language programs to students in remote areas in like 5 different schools in Cusco, Peru. And this project was very dear to me because it helped me reminded me why I moved to the US, why I moved here to Canada, and why I do the work that I do. It's not only, like we always share ourselves and say like, oh, I'm doing this, I've been promoted, I'm doing this job, but also we always need to keep in mind who benefits of the job or the work that we do. So this is a project that benefited 500 plus students. With the use of technology, they were able to access programs where they were able to learn English. And now, very much, you cannot hear this boy standing there is giving a presentation in English. His mother tongue is Quechua, and many of you, I mean, I don't know if you know, many of our countries in Latin America, students speak Spanish as a second language. This particular student, his mother tongue is Quechua. Now he's speaking basically English. That's the type of work that that I'm able to do, and I'm very proud of it. So one of the questions that I was asked I will present to you to respond is, how did you leverage your home country culture to succeed? So language is a very big component, but also let's not forget that we bridge cultures, right? Our culture as a Hispanic, we know the ways that we communicate among ourselves, and we know the way that we respond to certain I don't want to say commands, but to certain how we get motivated to do our job. So I think that's something very important that we should never forget, one. And then second, also, if you go back to this slide number 2, I just wanted to, can you please do me a favor? Because I have this summary of what I wanted to share. Okay, so here it is. Now, the other important thing is through language, we give voice to the ones that cannot speak for themselves. My work as an interpreter, I had to speak for the person who couldn't speak English or who was not proficient in English yet. It was on his or her way to become proficient. And also many of these stories that I have to hear over time were very heartbreaking stories. People who left their homes, people who ran away from many, for violence happening in many different countries. They were seeking asylum in the US. So now if I bring all that experience 10 years later, I'm still doing the same thing. I am still bridging between two cultures. I'm still giving the voice, but not in this right now giving the voice, but empowering these students or these learners to speak out for themselves through learning a second or third language. I think coping with heartbreaking stories, that's no longer the case for me, but it taught me a lot of self-control. It taught me about how to have always control of the situation and handle different, nowadays I handle big teams and I handle different accounts throughout different countries. So all the experiences that I learned back then, I think they served me very well here 10 years later. the question you have on the screen, that someone speaks Puerto Rican, and you probably are wondering, what do you mean by that? It was in my second or third week working as an interpreter. It was a very busy morning. Someone was calling, picked up the phone, and someone asked this question, that someone speak Puerto Rican. And I was like, wait, hold on a second. Don't they speak Spanish and English also? Don't they speak Spanish? Am I wrong? Am I in the wrong country? What's happening? So let's not forget something. We have the power of influence. We have the power of not only influencing, but educating. I was told many times when I was living in the US, whether I was from Mexico, how many years I was in the US. And when I stopped answering questions about Mexico, people looked at me and said, like, well, you speak Spanish, aren't you from Mexico? But those are the type of situations that you probably, I don't know if you will be, for some of you will be facing, but my question to you is, how do you leverage your home country culture in Canada to succeed?